Perfect. So my name is Kamran Zamanian. I'm the member of the local spiritual assembly of the Baha'is of Vancouver. It is with great love and gratitude to all the friends that have gathered here tonight that we will be taking you through a short journey of the life of Abdul Baha, the son of the prophet founder of the Baha'i Faith and the center of his covenant that spanned over 70 years of imprisonment, service, travels, and encouragement to the world of humanity, regardless of race, religion, class, creed, position, or denomination. The movement of interfaith is very dear to the hearts of Baha'is everywhere, since it is the cornerstone of the desired outcome of all Baha'i endeavors, namely the unity of the human race through its diversity of religion, beliefs, races, cultures, and political systems. We will start with a prayer revealed by Abdul Baha in Canada for humanity and continue with accounts, videos, songs, and prayers to commemorate his passing over the next 30 minutes or so, and then invite the friends to ask questions or make comments that prompt their hearts. So without further ado, we start with a prayer that was revealed by Abdul Baha in Canada, in Montreal.
O thou kind Lord, these people have turned to thee in prayer. With utmost humility and sincerity, they've raised their voices to thy kingdom to beg thy forgiveness. O God, make this assemblage noble and these persons holy. Enkindle the lights of guidance, illumine the hearts, bring joy to the souls, admit them into thy kingdom, and enable them to attain felicity in both worlds. O God, we are abased, glorify us. We are poor, make us rich from the treasury of thy kingdom. We are sick, grant us health. We are weak, give us power. O God, guide us to thy good pleasure and make us free from self and desire. O God, make us firm in thy voice and assist us to be kind to all creatures. Help us to render service to humanity, so that we may serve all thy servants, love all thy creatures, be kind to all mankind. O God, verily thou art the powerful, the merciful, the forgiving, and the omnipotent.
Thank you so much. Abdul Baha, which literally means the servant of God, was born on the 23rd of May, 1844. Was the eldest son of Baha'u'llah and appointed head of the Baha'i Faith after his father's passing in 1892. From the young age of 8, he shared a life of exile and imprisonment with his father, imposed by both the Persian government and the Ottoman Empire. Abdul Baha is one of the 3 central figures of the Baha'i Faith, along with Baha'u'llah and the Bab, and his writings and authenticated talks are regarded as a source of Baha'i sacred literature. Abdul Baha revealed over 37,000 tablets, books, and letters to various peoples around the world, elucidating his father's teachings of unity and peace, and instigated many philanthropic and humanitarian projects, saving thousands of lives and educating many others, the majority of which while still in prison. Abdul Baha, who was called by journalists in the United States who met him as the breeze of God, passed away in Haifa in November of 1921. And this year, we commemorate the centenary of his passing. This is a short animation that looks at the life of Abdul Baha, of the experiences that few individuals had when they met Abdul Baha in the United States. They are people like Khalil Gibran, Juliet Thompson, and the like.
We spend our lives trying to unlock the mystery of the universe. But there is a Turkish prisoner in Akka, Palestine, who had the key.
These sacred texts are the most amazing literature I have ever read in my life. Nothing written in my own language to this day compares to that.
Are you going to see Juliet now?
Of course.
Tomorrow, we will all be together at the Baha'i Center to see the film about the Master. Do you want to address a few words to the audience after the screening of the film?
Of course. I miss the meetings I had with Abdul Baha. During the process of writing the book, The Son of Man, I thought of him all the time. I remember the day when I asked Abdul Baha what I could do for him. The answer was, very well, write me a book. I have a project to write another book, where the Master would be the central character. I don't know if that will ever happen.
So, you met him?
I haven't had a chance to meet him yet, but I have heard so much about Abdul Baha, whom people call an idealist. But I should like to call him a realist, because no idealism, when it is strong and true, exists without endorsement of realism. There is nothing more real than his words on truth. His words are as simple as sunlight. Again, like sunlight, they are universal. No teacher, I think, is more important today than Abdul Baha.
We heard stories about this Persian man, and he is very wise. Some people even call him a prophet. You had the opportunity to be with him. Could you describe him for us?
He seemed an incarnation of loving understanding, of compassion and power, of wisdom and authority, of strength, and of a buoyant youthfulness which somehow defied the burden of his years. And such years. One saw as in a clear vision that he had so wrought all good and mercy that the inner grace of him had grown greater than all outer sign. And the radiance of this inner glory shone in every glance and word and movement as he came with hands outstretched.
Is he the person that holds the key to the secrets of the universe?
This is from a tablet written by Baha'u'llah, the founder of the Baha'i Faith, regarding Abdul Baha, his eldest son, some 26 years before his passing, in around 1864 to 1868. Baha'u'llah writes in this tablet, he says, "Render thanks unto God, O people, for his appearance, for verily he is the most great favor unto you, the most perfect bounty upon you, and through him every moldering bone is quickened. Whoso turneth towards him hath turned towards God, and whoso turneth away from him hath turned away from my beauty, hath repudiated my proof, and transgressed against me. Is the trust of God amongst you, his charge within you, his manifestation unto you, and his appearance among his favored servants." This is a song about the life of Abdul Baha.
To the center of the moon, he came into this world on the King of Days, not a moment too soon. All the spirit of faith contained in him, like a vessel he encompassed the word. The ark on the water through stormy seas, he sails on unperturbed. He wore the holy armor, the Holy One from the east. In the soul of the world he built a fire, and I'm burning away in its heat. Oh, the promise is made with creation, a covenant for all humankind, a fortress of strength for my wandering heart. To its magnet of love I will abide. And then he holds out his hand, he's doing his part. The promise of ages past, and I'm drawn like a cord to the covenant. Oh, I cling to the hem of his garment. The pure and stainless mirror in the station of the solitude, pivot of oneness in a fractured world, born of the ancient root. In the tablet of the branch she named you, the appointed one to shepherd the herd, perfect exemplar to guide the way, interpreter of his word. And then he holds out his hand, he's doing his part. The promise of ages past, and I'm drawn like a cord to the covenant. Oh, I cling to the hem of his garment. Be thou so steadfast in my love, that thy heart shall not waver, even if the heavens and earth arise against thee. Be thou as a flame of fire and a river of life eternal, and be not shaken, for I am with you always, with
This is from the writings of Shoghi Effendi, the guardian of the Baha'i Faith, regarding Abdul Baha and his station. He, Abdul Baha, is and should for all time be regarded first and foremost as the center and pivot of Baha'u'llah's peerless and all-enfolding covenant, his most exalted handiwork, the stainless mirror of his light, the perfect exemplar of his teachings, the unerring interpreter of his word, the embodiment of every Baha'i ideal, the incarnation of every Baha'i virtue, the most mighty branch sprung from the ancient root, the limb of the law of God, the being round whom all names revolve, the mainspring of the oneness of humanity, the ensign of the most great peace, the moon of the central orb of this most holy dispensation, styles and titles that are implicit and find their truest, their highest, and fairest expression in the magic name Abdul Baha, the servant of God. He is above and beyond these appellations, the mystery of God, an expression by which Baha'u'llah himself has chosen to designate him, and which, while it does not by any means justify us to assign to him the station of prophethood, indicates how, in the person of Abdul Baha, the incompatible characteristics of a human nature and superhuman knowledge and perfection have been blended and are completely harmonized. This was how the world basically looked at Abdul Baha, and obviously the Baha'i community. In this picture, you see that Abdul Baha in April of 1920, to be exact, on 27th of April 1920, he was knighted by the British Empire for averting famine in northern Palestine and saving tens of thousands of lives. So he was never interested in any type of titles or appellations and so on. So on the right is exactly what he wrote about who he says he is. He says, "My name is Abdul Baha, the servant of God. My identity is Abdul Baha. My qualification is Abdul Baha. My reality is Abdul Baha. My praise is Abdul Baha. Thraldom to the blessed perfection, Baha'u'llah, is my glorious and refulgent diadem, and servitude to all the human race is my perpetual religion. No name, no title, no mention, no commendation have I, nor will I ever have except Abdul Baha. This is my longing. This is my supreme apex. This is my greatest yearning. This is my eternal life. This is my everlasting glory." All of Abdul Baha's life was spent in bringing the world together, in meeting with numerous people from all religions, all races, all classes, with the single aim of bringing about that unity and love back to the family of humanity. This song is dedicated to that unity of a human race.
unite and bind together in the heart. Unite and bind together the heart. Join the chord of the soul. Join in the chord of the soul. Oh Lord, make His faces radiant through the light of Thy wonders. Unite and bind together the hearts. Unite and bind together the hearts. Join the chord of the soul. Join the chord of the soul. Oh Lord, make His faces radiant through the light of Thy wonders. Unite and bind together the hearts. Unite and bind together the hearts. Join the chord of the soul. Join the chord of the soul. Oh Lord, make His faces radiant through the light of Thy wonders. And bind together the hearts. Unite and bind together the hearts. The
Abdul Baha said in one of his writings that humanity is like the various chords and notes in a song. Even though they're all different and diverse, they all come together in unity to create that song, which is very pleasant to the ear. And this song really, I felt, captured that notion of unity in diversity. Abdul Baha arrived in New York on the 11th of April of 1912. This is the ship that sailed in New York. And there were many people, the presidents, President William Taft was the president of the United States at the time, Teddy Roosevelt, and in addition to them, of course, many others, thinkers, poets, leaders of religion, inventors, they were all kind of wanting to meet Abdul Baha. But one of the first requests that Abdul Baha had after his ship docked in New York was to go and visit the poor. And this is what he told the congregation of Bowery Mission in New York, Skid Row. When he met with them, he said, "Tonight, I'm very happy, for I've come here to meet my friends. I consider you my relatives, my companions, and I am your comrade." When Jesus appeared, it was the poor who first accepted him, not the rich. Therefore, you are his disciples. You are his comrades. For outwardly, he was poor, not rich. So, my comrades, you are following in the footsteps of Jesus Christ. Your lives are similar to his life. Your attitude is like unto his. You resemble him more than the rich resemble him. Therefore, we will thank God that we have been blessed with the real riches. And in conclusion, I ask you to accept Abdul Baha as your servant. So Abdul Baha saw his position not only that of head of a religion or someone who's going to be leading basically a group of people toward a certain goal, but his main focus in life was to serve humanity. And by his life, by his example, he showed everyone, whether Baha'is or not Baha'is, to really make that a priority in their lives. One of such souls was Lua Getzinger, a very wealthy individual in America that responded to the message of Baha'u'llah. She took the arduous trip at that time to travel to the Holy Land, and she met there with Abdul Baha. The following is a short animation regarding what Lua asked Abdul Baha, what Abdul Baha did, and what was the response of Lua Getzinger, to give us a glimpse of what was priority in the life of Abdul Baha throughout all the days that he lived on this earth.
For many years of his life, Abdul Baha lived in the Holy Land in the city of Akka. For much of this time, he was a prisoner and could not leave the city, but still he did all that he could to help others. If they needed food or clothes, he would bring them these things. If they needed money, he would give it to them. If they were sick, he would call a doctor or care for them himself. Almost every day, people in tattered clothes were seen around Abdul Baha's house. They waited to see Abdul Baha and ask for his help. He would always listen to their problems and try to help them. He was like a father to all the poor. Many Baha'is from Europe and America came to visit Abdul Baha in Akka while he was a prisoner. They came to listen to him and ask him questions. Abdul Baha taught them many things about the Baha'i Faith. One lady who came to Akka was Lua Getzinger. She came to see Abdul Baha with some Baha'i friends. She loved Abdul Baha very much, and she would do anything he asked. Lua came to see Abdul Baha one day when he was very busy. He had so many things to do that he couldn't do them all. He told her that he wanted to see a poor friend of his who was very sick, but he did not have enough time. So he asked her to go in his place. Abdul Baha told her to take some food to his friend and to care for him, as he had been doing. He told her where to find the man, and Lua started out. She was happy as she walked through the streets of Akka because she was helping Abdul Baha. She was also proud that Abdul Baha had sent her in his place to help his friend. But as she came to the sick man's house, she could see that it was dirty and poor. There was a terrible smell from the garbage and filth. When she went into the house, she couldn't believe her eyes. The man was very sick and could not get out of bed. He looked terrible. The whole house was dirty and messy. Lua became afraid. She almost fainted. She thought that she might catch some terrible disease, so she ran from the house as fast as she could. She returned to Abdul Baha. "Oh, master," she cried, "surely you cannot realize what a terrible place you sent me to." She told Abdul Baha about the dirty house and the sick man. Abdul Baha looked at her sadly. Then he spoke sternly. "Do you want to serve God?" he asked her. Then he said she must serve others. He told her that she must go back to the man's house. If it was dirty, she must clean it. If he was sick, she must care for him. If he was hungry, she must feed him. Abdul Baha had done this for him many times. Could she not serve him once? So Lua returned to the sick man's house, and this time she was ready to serve him. She did all the things that Abdul Baha had asked her to do. She cared for the man and fed him and cleaned his house. In this way, she was helping Abdul Baha and she was serving God as well.
So that's in addition to all the other work that he did. He was guiding basically a world community through his thousands of letters, of his tablets, admonitions. He built hospitals in the Middle East. He created learning centers. He really directed many people. And it's interesting, in the Holy Land, some years ago, there was the terraces. Some of you might be familiar with the terraces project that went on in the around year 2000. It was inaugurated in 2001. And the architect manager of that project was wanting some help. So he mentioned in one of his talks, he says, we put an ad, wanted some engineers. All of a sudden, we saw all these people coming, very qualified people, very rich, and they'd come to help. And he was curious, and he said, well, why are you here? You've got a business, you've got so much going for you, and so on. He says, well, our grandfathers lived at the time of Abdul Baha, and Abdul Baha helped them. They were very poor. He guided them. He asked them to start businesses. They did. And we are the result of that. And our father always told us that who actually started them on their journey. So they had come to basically see if in whatever way they can to help this project, which was associated with Abdul Baha. But Abdul Baha passed away in the early hours of November 28th, 1921. The physician who was summoned to his bedside at that hour and closed his eyes was Dr. Florian Krog of New York, the same man who once bitterly resented the faith of Baha'u'llah and wanted alienists to examine his wife because of her intense devotion to it. He had now come a pilgrim with his wife, and Abdul Baha had allocated them a room in the compound of his own house. A special announcement issued in the morning by the family of Abdul Baha and the Baha'is of Haifa gave the public the news of his passing and the funeral arrangements for the following day. However, early on Monday morning, the news of his sudden calamity had spread over the city, causing an unprecedented stir and tumult and filling all hearts with unalterable grief. This is a funeral procession of Abdul Baha on that day. In the land that we know as the Holy Land, in all its turbulent history of the last 2,000 years, there had never been an event which could unite all its inhabitants of diverse faiths and origins and purposes in a single expression of thought and feeling, as did the passing of Abdul Baha. Over 10,000 people of all religions and walks of life arrived on that day to accompany the body of Abdul Baha towards his resting place. To conclude, we will read together and contemplate on the tablet of visitation of Abdul Baha. Abdul Baha mentioned that whoever recites this tablet, it is as if you are meeting me in person. So it's a very, very special tablet. So if I could ask maybe Kathy to help us with that. He mentions also the greatest of all stations is that of servitude to the human race.
He is the all-glorious. O God, my God, lowly and tearful, I raise my suppliant hands to thee, and cover my face in the dust of that threshold of thine, exalted above the knowledge of the learned, and the praise of all that glorify thee. Graciously look upon thy servant, humble and lowly at thy door, with the glances of the eye of thy mercy, and immerse him in the ocean of thine eternal grace. Lord, he is a poor and lowly servant of thine, enthralled and imploring thee, captive in thy hand, praying fervently to thee, trusting in thee, in tears before thy face, calling to thee and beseeching thee, saying, O Lord my God, give me thy grace to serve thy loved ones. Strengthen me in my servitude to thee. Illumine my brow with the light of adoration in thy court of holiness, and of prayer to thy kingdom of grandeur. Help me to be selfless at the heavenly entrance of thy gate, and aid me to be detached from all things within thy holy precincts. Lord, give me to drink from the chalice of selflessness. With its robe clothe me, and in its ocean immerse me. Make me as dust in the pathway of thy loved ones, and grant that I may offer up my soul for the earth ennobled by the footsteps of thy chosen ones in thy path, O Lord of glory in the highest. With this prayer doth thy servant call thee, at dawn tide and in the night season. Fulfill his heart's desire, O Lord. Illumine his heart, gladden his bosom, kindle his light, and he may serve thy cause and thy servants. Thou art the bestower, the pitiful, the most bountiful, the gracious, the merciful, the compassionate.
Thank you so much. The next concluding slide is the design of the shrine of Abdul Baha, which is being built as we speak in the Holy Land near Akka, between Haifa and Akka. And this one sentence which I've underscored here was the animating phrase of Abdul Baha that helped the architect, helped his inspiration, if you like, to design this wonderful edifice, where he said, make me as dust in the pathway of thy loved ones, and grant that I may offer up my soul for the earth ennobled by the footsteps of thy chosen ones in thy path, O Lord of glory in the highest. It's the shrine of Abdul Baha near Akka in the construction. Thank you so much, dear friends, for your patience. And I really appreciate the time that we spent together. If there are any comments, any thoughts, I would stop sharing my screen if that's okay. And then maybe we can talk.